You are listening to the Conquering Everest podcast, episode number 10. Welcome to the Conquering Everest podcast. My name is Brian Talor, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day here with me. Now, I've got some exciting news. This Sunday, January 17th of 2021, I have the honor of interviewing two badass women. Lily and Liz Helton will be my guests. They are kickboxers. They've traveled the States, and they've even gone over to Bosnia to fight. And I just find the whole fighter mentality super interesting. You can learn so much from a fighter because if you think about what they put their bodies through, what their minds go through, I mean, you prepare, right? You're spending every day just getting ready for your next fight or being prepared for a fight. And then you step in that ring and who knows, you might win, you might lose. So I'm excited to talk to them just to get inside their minds, figure out what does it take to find your fierce, okay? So make sure if you haven't already, follow this podcast and set your alarms for Sunday the 17th because I have a feeling this is going to be a great show. I've had the privilege of knowing these two ladies for a good handful of years now, and they're super talented, and I can't wait to have them on the show this week. Now, if you haven't already followed us on Facebook, why don't you go ahead and do that? You can find us. It's real easy. Facebook.com/Conquering Everest Podcast. Okay, Conquering Everest Podcast on Facebook. You could follow us on Podbean. That is our podcast hosting company. And if you follow us on Podbean and you listen through your phone or other device, what is it? iOS and Android device, you can actually interact with this podcast. You can leave me messages. I will respond to messages. If you'd rather send an email, hey, send me an email, brian@conqueringeverest.com, okay? So a couple different ways to get a hold of me. I would love to interact with all of you listeners. If you have any questions that you would like to be answered on a future episode, please send those in because, it's hard being creative every day, right? As a podcaster, you're a content creator. I also write. I'm an author. I also have my a coaching, I'm trying to get a coaching business going, and and I'm a speaker, so I've got a lot of irons in the fire. So I'm trying my best to. I want to keep you guys engaged and entertained, and I want to bring you really good, thought-provoking ideas. So I'd really like to get more guests on this show because I'm sure there's only so much that you guys want to hear me just talk, me ramble on. So look forward to having more guests in the future and just seeing man, you know what? Let's make 2021 great. Let's make 2021 great. 2020 is in the past. It's over. It's done. Yeah, we've got a few little things we got to work out in our country right here in the U.S. By the way, anybody else outside of the U.S., well, hello to everybody in the U.S., but definitely outside of the U.S., I know I have some listeners that are abroad, so to speak. I really do anticipate great things here in 2021 for all of us, but we've got to get our minds right? Last episode, if you checked out last episode, I talked about or asked you the question, have you set your intentions? Have you thought about what you are going to do? What are your non-negotiables in 2021? What are you going to do? Not what do you want to do, not what you hope you do. What are you going to do? And I would challenge you to come up with some big stretch goals for yourself. Something that seems impossible. I love how Les Brown said it. I don't know if it came from anybody else, but there's a quote by Les Brown that says, "Aim for the moon, because even if you miss, you're going to land amongst the stars." And I dig that quote. You aim high, and if you don't hit your mark, that's okay. You've made progress. So if you haven't already, set your intentions. Like, get it in your mind right now. I will do this in 2021. I've got a goal to finish a book. So if you look at my intention board, I've got a whiteboard that I call my intention board, and I write my intentions on it. It says best-selling author. I'm not just going to write a book. I'm going to be a best-selling author. You know what? And if I write the book and I'm not a best-selling author, that's okay. I've got my book out there. It's there for people to consume. But I'm aiming high. I'm shooting for the moon. And that's okay. I don't mind landing amongst the stars. Best-selling author. I want to blow this podcast up. I need your guys' help to do that. Share this podcast. Get it out to your family and friends. Let them know this exists. Let's get some traffic coming in, get some listeners coming in, because I know together we can work wonders. We can make a difference in this world. And it's not about making money. If I've never make a dime off of this podcast, that's okay. I had a while back, and I had some technical difficulties with the podcast, so I lost my comments that I had a few comments in the past, but somebody had contacted me and said, "Hey, I've discovered your podcast. I really like what you're saying. Keep up the good work." And to me, that's like, if that's the only person in the world, if I could impact one person, just one person, then I'm totally fine with that. But I know there's a lot more people in this world we need to impact, and we can do it. We got to work together. We got to pull our resources together, and we got to be great. It starts at us, right? In order for us to do great things or help people do great things, we have to take care of ourselves. I have an analogy. I'm thinking about it right now. I know I'm kind of scattered. I feel good today. I feel good. I don't know. I'm energized. I tell you, 2021 being over, it's like I just burned it up and let it go, and I feel great here in 2020. Anyways, what I was going to say is I have this analogy I like to use. It's around an apple, right? Apples are pretty tasty. They're sweet. They're crunchy. They got a little tart to them. And you know what? You eat apple a day, you keep the doctor away, right? That's what they say. Well, an apple is good, but what if you drop that apple and then you accidentally kick it into the wall? And then when you go to bend over and pick it up, you drop it again. Right? Now all of a sudden this apple's bruised. It's mushy. It's not as tempting. Like, I'm probably not going to eat that apple. I'm going to throw it away. So I think of that on a personal level. I mean, we're an apple, right? People love apples for the most part, but nobody loves a bruised apple. So we've got to take care of ourselves. And it starts with us. You've got to work on you, and through working on you, you're going to be able to help others, right? That's what Conquering Everest is all about. This podcast, Sir Edmund Hillary conquered Everest. He was the first one to do it. Well, him and his partner, Sherpa, the name escapes me. But they conquered Everest when nobody else could. 10 other expeditions failed, right? And then they conquered it. And now, I think the last statistic, I mean, there's been thousands upon thousands of people that have climbed that mountain now, and they've reached the summit, and they've conquered Everest. And it all started, all became possible because it took one person to overcome it. One person to put everything they had into it. So that's what we're doing, right? We work on ourselves, and we make ourselves the best we can be, because when we're the best we can be, we can help others be the best they can be. All right, I digress. Listen, let's get back to a point I wanted to, or a story I wanted to share. Is talked about my intentions, and then I found somebody I know has set up an intention board, and I don't even think they've listened to the podcast, because I was like, hey, either you listen to my podcast or we're like mind melded here. But she set up an intention board. She does marketing. She sells beauty and cosmetics and whatnots, lotions and potions and perfumes and all that good stuff. She sells through network marketing. But her sales had been slumping, and her sales leader, I don't know if I'm using the correct terminology here, sorry, but the sales leader said, hey, we need to meet, we need to talk. Well, they had their conversation, and I'm sure she got a lot of feedback that maybe some of that feedback hurt. And that's what I want to talk to you all about today. And I'm getting there. Don't worry. Don't rush a good thing. But so she created an intention board. And so she's got a sticky note for every day of the week. It's like a sticky note calendar. And she's written on each sticky note what her expectation is for that day. So the first day she did it, her aim was $38, and she did not make it. And she drew a little sad face on the note, but she didn't give up hope. Next day, her intention was $77. She made $78. So she hit it, right? But she's made this board, and it's in front of her. Her eyes see it. It's a daily reminder, and it's okay if she's not going to hit. She's not going to hit every day. Well, wait, who am I to say that? She may hit every day. That's not my place to say. But if she doesn't hit every day, that's going to be okay, because you know what? I don't know. To me, if I was selling a product and at the end of the month, my goal was to sell 1,000, but I only sold 200. That's all right. That's $200 more than I started with, right? So I just thought that was really cool, and it really went well with my last episode on intention setting. So if you haven't already, get you some sticky notes. Sticky note the hell out of your wall. Sticky note the hell out of your monitor. Put those intentions in front of you. I will accomplish this in 2021. Or whatever date you want to accomplish it by. But today's episode, I really want to talk about feedback. So I got feedback the other day that hurt a little bit. So I have a day job, right? I'm 9 to 5. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to sip some Mai Tais on a white sandy beach, looking at the ocean, recording my podcast with the waves in the background, and writing my best-selling books. But right now I've got a 9 to 5, and it's review time, end of the year review time. And so I sat down with my boss, and he's like, all right, hey, I've got some feedback. I solicited feedback from your peers, and here's your feedback. And not all of it was good. Some of it was critical. Some of it, constructive criticism. But it hurt. It stung a little bit. One of them was, Brian is a great teacher, and I learned so much from him, but he doesn't seem to want to learn from others, or he doesn't seem open or receptive to other ideas. And I'm like, whoa, wow, am I giving that impression? Like, that hurt, because I don't think of myself like that, and that's not my intention. And it took me back for a minute, right? And so I finished my meeting with my boss, and I went back here, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, I can go one of two ways with this feedback. I can sit here and just keep saying, wow, that really sucks. Like, I can't believe that I was that way towards somebody. Woe is me, cry a tear, or even get mad and be like, how dare they give me that feedback? I always take advice and do, I always do these things. No, I took, what? It's feedback. It's somebody's perception. It's somebody's opinion. And I think it's important to take it all in, good, bad, otherwise. Take it in. Say, hey, this is an area of my life that I need to work on. Okay? This individual said, I'm not I'm not receptive or open to learning new things. Now, I know I am, but somewhere down the line, I made that individual feel or perceive a different opinion. So that's something I can work on. I could go back to that. Well, it was anonymous, so I don't know who the feedback came from, but I can certainly go back to my peers and say, hey, you know what? Here's some feedback that I got. I want to do better have I ever given you this impression? And if I have, do you have an example? And, hopefully they say, oh, no, I've never seen that about you. But if they do, and they say, well, I've seen this in you a time or two, and here's an example of when I experienced that. You want to get feedback. I mean, good, bad, it should be constructive, right? Hopefully nobody's giving you non-constructive feedback. But if it's constructive feedback, take it. Now, are you going to be able to please everybody all the time? No. Okay, that's not the point here. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make with the being receptive to feedback, and we'll say being receptive to critical feedback, is don't look at it as something just to make you angry or something to make you sad. Look at it as something that you need to understand better. It may just be one person's perception, and it requires no change on your part, but you should take that and really explore it. Am I giving people the impression that I don't want to listen to them or I don't want to learn from them? So that's what I did. I took it back. I've talked to other peers. I said, hey, I've got this feedback. What do you think? And luckily, my other peers are like, no, you've always been very receptive to what I've had to share with you, things I've wanted to teach. And likewise, you've always come to me with ideas. And so I think it's, overall that, I am as good of a learner as I can be a teacher. But for one person, at least at one point in time, I didn't give that perception. So that's something I can work on. Now, I could have got mad. I could have just been angry. I could have shifted the blame, right? Say, oh, well, it was a busy time, and I had lots of meetings that day, and my boss was hounding on me for the deadline. And no, okay, thank you for the feedback. I'm going to explore this. I'm going to see if I can create a positive change out of this. It may hurt, right? It may be like a gut shot. Somebody punched you in the belly, and you're feeling it. But look at it as a good thing. Critical feedback can be a very good development tool. So use it to your advantage. So hey, I hope you found this episode to be helpful. If you did, please do me a favor, give it a share, give it a like or a thumbs up or a follow. I don't know where you're listening to this episode, but wherever it is, if share your opinion. Is it good? Is it bad? Can it be better? Like I said, a couple ways you can get a hold of me. You can leave messages for me, comments on these episodes through the Podbean app, available for Android and iPhone. You can send me an email at brian@conqueringeverest.com. You could look me up on the Facebook page. That's Facebook/Conquering Everest Podcast. I've also got a YouTube channel out there. If you go out and search for Conquering Everest, I'd love to provide you. I'll put the link for all of this in the description below. I'd love to be able to provide you the YouTube link here for you to hear, but it's a long, nasty, ugly link. I don't have enough followers yet to be able to customize it, so I do need some followers on YouTube. I am uploading these episodes to YouTube, so if you like to, tune in through the YouTubes, please do. Look me up, subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. So hey, until next time, I want you to aim high, be courageous, and get out there and do amazing things.